Okay, since I don't have a sign-in sheet, I think we can just do it on the tape and then we'll get the minutes of the tape. So let's go around the table and we'll start with Joanne.
Joanne Robinson, UCO recording secretary.
And to our left, my left, the extreme left, is Mr. David Bowes. He doesn't know that when you go like this, of course he knows, he means he's here. And at the far end of the table, Olga Wolkenstein. And to my right,
Michael Zaslow.
And myself, Ed Grossman. And I appreciate those of you who have come. As an incidental, I just got put on my desk the draft report from the certified public accountant, and I was asked to review it and give a report on it. Unfortunately, it takes quite some time to read, and at this time, I'm not prepared, but if you're interested, we could have another meeting and go through it item by item. What I have prepared for this meeting is a very short agenda. And it starts with the minutes. I really didn't make a copy, although Joanne sent me a copy. But we could read into the minutes another time. The first item, and I don't know if you could see it, next time I'm learning I could put this on the email, is call to order, which that's been done, the minutes which we're deferring. And I believe since we have some new people and since it's very important, I believe that we have to have a detailed review of the duties and responsibilities of the Finance Committee and all the offices as per UCO's bylaws. As we probably all know, these bylaws have become very malleable. They change like the winds. But if we're going to be useful, then we have to be sure that the bylaws are adhered to. Now, I don't know if everybody got a copy of our bylaws. There's 3 sections which are apropos. One is the duty of the officers, which includes me. The other is what the Finance Committee is supposed to do. And it's very clear that the Finance Committee's duties go well beyond preparing a budget. And there's been a lot of research that I've taken upon myself, and I think it's incumbent that we all take a look at them, and if you don't have them, I'll email you the sections or the whole bylaws, because to sit here, work, and accomplish nothing, or next to nothing, is just an utter waste of time. Now, on the videos that are posted, you have an officers meeting, you have a finance meeting, and you have the delegate assembly. And the delegate assembly, we lost Richard again. The last 10 or 15 minutes, the best I could describe of the May delegate assembly, as far as I'm concerned, it was a total abortion. Yeah. Why do I say that? We have been trying to present an economic plan that would benefit the village. However, we have been unsuccessful. And according to the bylaws, we were supposed to be able to have a vote during new business, which Olga put on the floor, and this is not the first time it happened. And before you know it, it was killed. Now, in the past, it was killed 2 or 3 times simply by prolonging it and people walking out. Olga very nicely said, this is important. This is important. Please don't leave. And we did get people to stay. However, in a surprise move, we were presented verbally a new opinion from Rod Tennyson, which I did a truncated here, and I'm looking for it. And all I could say is, it's news to me. I've been here 15, almost 16 years. And while Rod, in my opinion, is a very learned lawyer, it's not the first time that he made a very big mistake. The time before that I was involved in was very simple. Anita was conducting an advisory committee meeting where the bylaws were being changed. And what happened? She presented a opinion that Rod Tennyson sent to her. Well, she read the whole opinion, and I asked for a copy of it. Now, what I was told was that it was privileged communication. Well, crowd. Oh, look who's here. Donald. Anyway,
Hi, Donald.
privileged communication can be released by the person who is speaking. And since Anita read the whole thing, from when I got an email saying I couldn't have it from Rod Tennyson, I answered him, and he came to the plate and said, I made a mistake. And the document that she was reading was printed and given to me. I believe here Mr. Tennyson made a mistake again in the transcript of the May meeting. I'm not sure whether it was Donald or Fausto. Oh, Donald said, I have in my phone an opinion from Rod Tennyson, our lawyer. And the opinion read that the time you only could present to make investments, whether it's CDs or treasury bills, it has to be done in October and put it in the budget. Well, I did quite a bit of research on this. I went back years, and I never saw it happen before. And if it had happened, I would like to see where it was. And in addition, what I got was words. Words don't mean nothing. Where is the written opinion signed by Rod Tennyson that the only time you could bring forward the ability to buy, whether it's CDs, whether it's treasury bills, whether it's gold, that it has to be done for the budget? Now, I defy anybody, and if you could do it, you wouldn't be here, to predict how much, when, and why you intend to invest funds that the rate changes all the time, every single day. I've gone back over a lot of the things that have been done since I've been here. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I've talked to more than one. And I believe that what's been going on is known as tortious interference. My duties and the committee's duties are clearly defined in our bylaws. And that's why I want everybody here who's on the committee to pitch in. Now, in doing this research, not to bore you, I reviewed, and I don't know if any of you have, the bilateral agreement. And I find two things are very interesting. One, the bilateral agreement is only for 1 year. And it's quote unquote automatically renewable unless there's a vote to change it. And I think that's a very, very important document. The second thing I found, there is a legal opinion that because of the bilateral agreement, UCO should be coming under 718, not 617. Now, I have that verbally, I haven't got it in writing, but I intend to get it. But more importantly, to sit here, have me research, and the populace of hundreds of thousands of dollars in pre-tax income, and to be told that you have to put it, you can't even take it up until October. Now, that's very new to me, because up until that time, the argument was it had to go through the officers committee, the executive board, and the delegate assembly. I see a hand raised. Go right ahead.
We can't hear you, Richard.
Is that Richard or?
It's Richard. It's Richard.
Richard, can you talk up? Do you got a microphone? Raise the voice on your microphone.
Press the mute button.
I can't hear you.
He's not muted. He's using a headphone.
Hmm?
I think it's his headphones are canceling out his mic.
Joanne thinks that your headphones are canceling out your mic. Could you try something else? How about sign language? It's very low. We're all going to chip in. For the next meeting, we'll send you a microphone. I would like you to send us an email or something, because we can't hear a word. Sherry, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, for sure.
It may be if he's wearing a headset, sometimes there's a button on the headset that's also mute, or it could be on his computer. So if you press that button, and that'll mute you as well as your computer. I don't know. I can't see who.
Yeah, Ed, can I make a
Yeah.
suggestion? Perhaps he should connect his headphone, and then maybe he'll speak, his mic will work. I don't know exactly what his setup is, but
I don't know if his microphones have a mic, his earphones have a mic.
Well, yeah, and like he said, maybe if he just pulls out his plug from, I'm using a phone. I don't know if he's using a computer or.
I don't know either.
You want
But
it?
I think we should know. Americo, One second.
Ed,
Americo,
yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
oh, yes, sure.
Okay.
Pepsi.
Ed, from what I can understand, this is a monologue by you, the chair of the committee. Has anybody on the committee an opinion on the purchasing of treasury bills as compared to CDs?
I don't think, I hear you, and it's a good question, but I think it's not really important at this time, because at a prior meeting, I read into the minutes, Richard's writing on whether or not it is allowed and permissible. It is very detailed, and it should be in the minutes of that meeting. But what happened is we got off topic. Now, I brought this up. I'm ready for any comments. And the answer,
Table guys coming now.
I think the reason I wrote this agenda in a very abbreviated way, I'm willing to hear any comments, any suggestions, anything that we should be able to move forward. Yes,
Can I speak once again, Ed?
yes.
Okay. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Does the delegate assembly, is that super important, the delegate assembly? In other words, if this delegate assembly approves something, it is done, correct?
Yeah.
It does, there's no superordinate to the delegate assembly. Is that correct?
Well, I can't answer you as a lawyer, but it's been my understanding for my now, I think, 15 plus years, that that is the case, because the delegate assembly in a non-for-profit 617 Florida corporation has no shareholders, and the delegates stand in the same shoes as a shareholder. And most things of major significance in corporation first go
I'll
before.
be right back. I'm gonna get her.
Excuse me?
Paulette needs to mute herself.
What was that?
Paulette needs to mute herself.
Paulette?
I can mute her, but I would not be able to tell whether she wanted to talk or not.
Paulette, can you hear us?
Oh, good grief.
I think, go ahead.
And can I make my point, please?
Yeah, go right through it.
Okay. If the delegate assembly is the ultimate authority at UCO, all you need to do is have somebody make the motion.
Walker that you use? Or no?
Would you kindly look at the delegate assembly meeting of May, I believe it's May 5th, and you will see what
Okay,
happened.
yeah, we can do that.
And then she stood up and then,
And kind of just went
Yeah.
back and down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
but I don't, that's a good question, she had a walker.
Yeah,
And I
I
can mute her, and I can mute her, but she will not be able to participate.
Is she talking to us?
I don't know who she's talking to, but she's signed in and it's interrupting the meeting, so I can mute her.
Why should we mute her? Let's see,
Go ahead.
Paulette, can you hear us? Wave.
It's a static background.
It's difficult since we're new to this, although I'm sure Paulette isn't. Call Paulette Burden.
Mr. Chairman, this meeting is going off the rails here, I think.
Any pain? No, no. Yes, I'm with her right now.
Paulette, you didn't answer. Paulette's not answering. I don't know what else to do.
I'm gonna
Mr.
mute her. I'm gonna
Mr.
mute her
Chairman.
because she's interrupting the meeting.
Is she talking?
If someone's talking and she has an open line,
Therapist came and just needs to like closer to her, so.
She's
Let her
talking to
watch. What do you want?
She's not
Paulette, we're
talking.
trying to reach you.
all right,
Yeah,
I've
Mr.
muted her
Mr.
so she can't interrupt the
Mr.
meeting.
Chairman.
Okay. Now. Call Americo.
Mr. Chairman,
Why? He's on the, you can
Oh.
hear America.
Well, but we can't hear him.
I muted her. America, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, would you please identify who the speaker is so that we can understand who the speaker is? Otherwise, it becomes a Donnybrook.
I try to announce whoever is talking. Oh, that was me.
Oh, that's you.
I
Okay.
wanted to be able to hear you. You were having difficulty. So the answer is, we have to test this better. I think it's a terrific tool. And yes, I can do most of the talking. However, I would like some people, besides myself, to do some research. Because, as I say, it really doesn't make sense to do nothing when you're trying to do something. And I invited Mr. Tennyson to forward a written opinion stating what Donald Foster said. Okay, and that I have something to talk to someone to challenge it. However, having said that, I like to move along and hear from anybody what they have to say. Mike, do you have anything you want to contribute? Yes, no, or maybe?
Going by what we were talking about with the representative from the last meeting, was anything formally written out as to a proposal and with all the figures on paper so that we can review it?
Are we talking about the investment?
Yes, I believe we had the representative here from the
Sure.
bank last month.
Yes.
Mike, you could answer that. Excuse me. John,
Yeah, yes. Yes, we have that proposal out. That's what was passed out last time at the last meeting. There's a proposal of what this is all about, what they're offering us, the price, and everything was there in writing. And if you remember, there was one of the prior meetings that we had, I actually, at the assembly, brought up a motion that we vote for this. But it didn't get even to that because they said we had to go to the executive committee prior to going to the delegate assembly. So there's where it stopped, because I tried to have a vote there at the general assembly. And I was told that I had to go to the executive meeting first.
Okay, the form from last time though, wasn't it missing fees? I believe.
No,
it
everything was
called
in there. The fees were in there. The $300 a year was there. The rate that they were gonna give us was there. Everything was there, right on the table, ready to go. All we had to do was just approve it and it had been done.
I find what is a conundrum that the other author kept on insisting that it be presented to them, which I definitely object to and still. However, it was presented to them and there was a meeting. And I believe I put it in my article, which may appear in this current UCO reporter, And the vote was 3-4, 3 were approved, and I think it was 4 were against. And the 3 that were approved it was myself, David Bowers, who's sitting here, and Stuart, who was not here, probably because he's going or has had an operation. So I made a comment that the executive board was canceled last month. And so I would assume, but never assume, that it will go forward at the executive board this week on Friday. Now, if we're to follow Mr. Tennyson, it doesn't go anywhere. The answer is, I think it should go forward.
Yeah.
Because up until that moment, everything was done. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Richard, can you look up in the bylaws and see, in this case like this, can we bring this up for a vote at the delegate assembly again?
I think we lost Richard somehow. Am I wrong?
Oh,
Well, he's got a connection.
Hmm?
Can you hear me?
yeah, I'd like to bring this up at the delegate assembly, if we can do that without going to the executive board. Because we've done that already and we're not getting anywhere. Bring it right to the delegate assembly and ask them what they want.
I think it really gets to the delegate assembly under any condition. And if they
Right.
say no, that's a different story.
Correct.
However,
Because we've had this
However-
argument before and we've had,
Richard,
discussions.
well,
We're losing
where
a lot
would-
of money.
Of course, if we're to wait until October at the current rate,
It's a couple $100,000.
added together, it's gonna be close to 300,000 pre-tax.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
One second, just hold on.
Richard can hear us
Can he?
and we can hear Richard. He
You
just
can?
doesn't have his video on right now.
Oh, you can hear?
Richard, say something.
I'm here, but I can't appear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Did
Well,
you hear that request, Richard?
What? Oh, I don't know about the request, but
The
What I-
request? Could you repeat that, the request?
Yeah, Richard, can we check on the bylaws and see, since the executive committee, we're not getting anywhere, can we bring this up to the delegate assembly for a vote?
I would say yes, because the vote was not held at the last delegate assembly. There was no vote. I would
Right,
also-
because we almost had a vote on one of the prior meetings, if you remember, but it got into an argument with some of the officers and the delegate assembly. And then by that time, some of the delegate assembly left.
There was no quorum, so there was no
Correct.
vote.
Correct.
But I would say that, as I have emailed Ed several times, 3 points. First, the bylaws specifically state that the treasurer may invest in CDs
Yes,
or other government-approved documents. That statement to me means a vote was already taken when the bylaws were approved in 2020.
yes, I agree.
Secondly, there's no mechanism in the bylaws to go to any other body than the finance committee and the treasurer for investing in CD. There is
Right.
no mechanism that says it has to go to the officers, the executive board, and then the delegate assembly.
Right,
Thirdly, I would say, just to be nice and to compromise, bring it up for a vote at the next delegate assembly and pass it. We have been screaming and yelling for over 8 months. So I
Right.
don't push anymore. I would say, bring it up for a vote. Nothing can stop delegate assembly.
correct. I
That's it.
agree.
Okay.
Can I ask something? Hello? Hello?
Richard,
Can you hear me?
you're next.
Yes.
Richard, can you hear me?
I could hear you. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay. Hi. So I'm new to this, but I'm really curious why they are turning down this
according,
proposal. Because to me, it makes, I don't understand the reasoning of not wanting to invest in either treasuries or CDs. If they're going by feeling about the finance department over facts, you can't put your feelings about someone over what the facts show that we would
Right.
be making money. So that to me right there, if they're just using their personal feelings to turn down something to be just contrary, that I think that should be brought up, that, you know, facts
Right.
should be over feelings.
Correct. The only word I could say is politics.
Right. And to make a decision like that with people's money because they don't,
It's
you know, it's
absolutely wrong.
exactly.
It's a
And
sound investment. They're giving us guarantees. They're giving us their best rate, $300 for the year for the service.
I would take it if I had that money. I mean, who doesn't want to make money? Passive income. You put it
Right.
somewhere and you're making money by not, to me, they're just making votes based on their personal feelings and nothing to do with the facts. So
Correct. We had the same thing last time to T-bills, and I actually called Jerome office of the Treasury Powers, and I got a rep there saying they'll take care of it for you with no fees.
really,
I was, one of the questions, you're next. One of the questions.
But that wasn't in the bylaws, from my understanding. Richard, you can follow up on me. But if I remember, they had changed the bylaws originally. Yes, CDs are in there. But if I remember them saying that the T-bills was in there at one time, but now someone put the word, you know, a little preposition or in there. And then you take it as, you know, the T-bills wasn't mentioned. But they actually should be back in the bylaws again.
and the question is, put them there
Excuse
knowing,
me,
you know,
1 second. That comment was made by Richard in the past,
Yes,
and I reviewed the revisions of the bylaws that we had in storage. And according to the rules, if you make a change in a bylaw, it has to be posted and voted on. The last one before the one we had to change, but the one before it was still there. I reviewed every single document from, I think, 2006 to 2009. Nowhere was there a change recorded as far as the T-bills. I went
Right.
so far, excuse me, as I called Mr. Bouchard, who was in charge at that time. And I also called Anita, who was running the meeting. She says she doesn't recall. And the answer is simple. It was never recorded as a change. Now, the other thing, just to be verbose, what's going to stop you from trying to do it again? Well, this is the third time. All you got to do is look at the May Delegate Assembly and you'll see how it was disrupted to the point that people got disgusted.
right.
So it must go, and it probably has to be dealt with. If we can't do the right thing, it should be dealt with in a different venue. It's easy to say to do it. And we have a gentleman here who's an officer and a long-time activist in Yuko, was one of the officers who voted for it. So do we get it to go to the delegate, to the executive board on Sunday? I think it should. It was voted on by the officers committee. It was turned down. However, our current bylaws clearly state, no matter who turns it down, it should go forward to the delegate assembly, except for this amazing non-published opinion by Rod Tennyson. Go ahead. You were looking,
America?
I think that was America.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that the Finance Committee, based on Richard's opinion and based on John Mallory's motion, once again, prepare a motion that someone at the General Assembly will move and somebody will second it and then put it on the table and vote at the General Assembly. If it's accepted, then you're home free, you can do it. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're just chatting about it ad nauseum. So
Well-
once again, Mr. Chairman, to cut this thing short, because in fact, all we're doing is we're talking around the circles. We know what we want. Let's prepare a motion that somebody will move and somebody will second it at the delegate assembly. And if it passes at delegate assembly, the treasurer then can buy T-bills.
I agree.
We're talking about CDs at this point, not T-bills. Unless the rates change dramatically again.
Well, the rates are going up again right now, so I
What
don't
is
know.
the
what
current, what is the current rate?
It's just around 5%. But don't forget, right now, it's being changed on a weekly basis. So we'd have to check back with them to see what the actual offer is, the bid.
John, the treasury bills change every day.
Yeah, no, they
Every day.
change every day, but we're getting this rate, this special service from Merrill Lynch that usually comes out on a weekly basis. We're getting a special
And
rate.
The rates are always better than CDs.
Right,
They're
of course.
always better than CDs. So we're, as the treasurer is stating before, we're losing, potentially, we're losing money.
We're losing a lot of money.
Mr. Chairman, to cut this thing short, because all we're doing is we're talking around in circles. I make the motion that someone in the Finance Committee make the motion at the delegate assembly that the treasurer may, at his discretion, purchase T-bills as
No,
compared to
CDs.
CDs.
treasury bills.
No,
No.
treasury, no, CDs.
CDs.
The treasury bills are not quite in our bylaws. That's
I
that's
agree.
another discussion.
I agree
I
that,
thought treasury bills I thought the treasury bills were absent from the bylaws and that CDs were included in the bylaws.
Yeah.
Yes,
Another,
the motion is on the floor, and I could only, and unfortunately, we lost Olga. Olga got up very boldly at the last delegate assembly, and she was cut off by her knees. Now, we lost people because they just don't want to get involved. I do think that is, and you could check it with what I would call tortoise interference as for our bylaws. So we could talk about it, and it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be on the committee.
okay. And
But
we
if
can
you
definitely
wanna
do it,
have
but
that as a motion,
Right.
we'll have a discussion, and whether it's passed or not, we'll see.
and let's see if we can make someone who's gonna do it right now. Unfortunately, I won't be back in West Palm at the next assembly meeting. I'm coming like a week or two later, coming back. So I
Well,
won't be
come
there.
back earlier, that's all.
Yeah. Wrong.
Well, we can have
Ed?
them all. David,
Olga,
are
Ed?
you gonna fly in here to put that motion on the floor?
Yeah.
No, Ed,
Also,
I have,
What'd you say?
I have a question. I need an education,
Okay,
if I may.
we're not charging you for it though.
The power of the decision, does the delegates assembly have a higher position as far as the decision than the executive, or the executive
Yes.
has it?
The delegates
Yes,
has
it
the
does.
final decision.
Yes, it does. It,
So then
the
why do
delegate
we have,
assembly, the delegate
Thank you.
assembly is the ultimate decision maker.
so why do you need the executive then?
You
Mhm.
don't,
do you
No,
need-
we're gonna try and bypass them.
Why do you have to present it to them?
Well,
That's why you want to make a motion at the next assembly meeting. Somebody has to make a motion to buy the CDs, and then it has to be seconded by somebody else. And then we can vote on it.
I don't think you'd have a problem of somebody getting up to the mic and making the motion, because
I just
when
like
we
to pick
had
the
to
two
vote,
people, if we get two people to do it before they actually
Well-
go to the assembly meeting. I mean, I'd be definitely there doing it. I'd be yelling it.
Does it have to be a delegate, or can any member
yes,
make
it
a
does.
motion?
I
Yes,
think it
does
has to
have
be a delegate.
well,
Olga,
who made the motion? Who seconded it?
Oh, the last time I did, I made the motion last time. And it was seconded, but then we got into that big debate and argument with everybody. And they said that we had to go to the executive board.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and I don't like to put anybody on the carpet. But I think it's not improper for me to ask David Bowes why he voted for it.
oh,
He is one of the three votes, myself, Stuart, and David Bowes.
I don't know, to some people it's common sense and to other people, it's not. They're getting political, or they're getting information that has nothing to do with the actual investment. Because the investment is sound, which got guarantees. SARS is backing up our whole investment of the 5 million. As we went over.
It's crazy.
Well, let's dispose of this, because we are gonna talk ourselves to death.
All right, Ed, you come up with two people. One's gonna make the motion and someone else, Olga or somebody, will make the second motion and then ask for a vote.
Olga is no
What-
longer here. I don't know, something happened. David, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the date of the next delegates assembly meeting? Well, what's the date?
I think it's next week.
Yeah, next Friday.
Yep.
That's next week,
What,
next
what
Friday.
date is next Friday?
the second,
Yeah.
a week from Friday, the 2nd of June.
David, I can get you a $25 round trip ticket if it's a matter of the money.
Ed, I
Mhm.
love you too, Ed.
All right,
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I have to just go into a meeting in like 5 minutes.
Thank you for coming, Miss
Thank
Sherry.
you.
For those of
Thanks,
you who don't know, I'm not hiding it. Unfortunately, she's my daughter. So thank
Ed,
you
pick
for,
two
and she's a
Ed.
unit owner.
Right, Ed, pick two people and talk to
Okay.
them.
I'm not here
Have
to
a good
pick it.
day,
It's-
everyone.
David,
Yeah,
Richard, are you able to get to the meetings?
you're casting about a vote, is that it? Was
Yeah,
it
I want to see
seconded?
if, Richard, can you make the next assembly meeting?
I'll try, I have a doctor's appointment that he comes only on Friday to West Palm Beach. That's a problem. If I'm there, I can make a motion, but I don't think I'll be able to. It's for my eyes and I have cataract. I can't wait. I'm
All
sorry.
right,
But Olga would be glad to, again.
yeah, that's one. Yeah, Olga be fine. She's
And I
fine.
think someone from the
Olga's
audience.
not here, we could all nominate her, but she did it last time.
Right, so Ed,
Right.
A second.
Yeah.
See who can get an assembly person that can pick a second.
Yeah, Olga could do, Olga's not a shy person. She'll get someone.
Right, and I'm gonna email somebody I know also.
All right.
Okay, so the motion is to have someone get up to the mic and make a motion, request, and a second to vote on the purchase of
Of
CDs.
CDs, correct, yes.
I just want to clear up one quick thing. I was questioned as to why anybody would invest with a company that's willing to do all the work for $300 a year.
This is why. Don't forget, it's not just the $300 a year as being the fee, if you want to call it, the brokerage fee. They also have a different thing called money under management. They're getting used to the $5 million of ours. What do you think they're gonna do? Correct. They're gonna have that use of that investment of $5 million. That means more to them than $300 commission.
Well, I don't know if they have the use of the money, John.
Yes, they do. It's gonna,
Well,
they're gonna have
how
five.
could they have the use if it's in our name?
Because it's in our name, but it's in the account under management. It's
Well,
part of their it's part of their capital.
There's no doubt that it's in your name, but I think a
Private
more,
banking, it's money under management.
we
I
could
would
ask
imagine-
them, we could ask them that question.
Okay,
Richard, your
that's
name.
fine.
All I could tell you is if you watch TV, whether it's Bank of America or Merrill Lynch, they spend maybe millions of dollars to acquire a customer. The $300 is nothing
Nothing.
compared
Richard
to
has
the
a question.
exposure of having an entree to the populace of Century Village.
And Richard has a
I-
question.
No, I would think, or I'm not a banker, but Bank of America will place the 5 million in 20 or 30 different banks in the amount of about $230,000. I would imagine that each of those banks will be paying Bank of America a fee for that deposit.
Correct.
And
That's under
that's
the
how they'll be
FDIC.
making their money.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
All that bank, there's over 3,000 banks under FDIC. So all those banks are actually paying a service to have that insurance.
I think we're talking to the choir here.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
care. I would venture to guess that they could do it for nothing and they would be ahead. But that's
Yeah.
not my problem. My problem is that we're not being able to do it. And undoubtedly, it saves a tremendous amount of bookkeeping because the banks that we currently use are charging us for being able to distribute our
Management
deposits
fees.
to other banks.
Right.
So, and
management.
we're getting no benefit from it. So I think it calls for a vote.
And can
Are
we-
we finished? Are we finished with discussion?
Yeah, I would second Amerigo's motion. And I would ask, can we have a quorum through Zoom? Are John and Mr. Singer and myself, are we counted present through Zoom?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Then we have a quorum.
And we have a quorum, yes.
It doesn't really matter. Someone can present with, without a finance committee backing.
Yeah.
All right, I would suggest we now have a vote.
It calls for a vote. Madam Secretary, would you call the roster?
Okay,
If I could clarify, the vote,
Excuse me, go ahead.
the vote we're calling for right now, because a couple of things got mentioned between T-bills and CDs in the previous, since the vote was called. What is the merit, what is the actual motion that we're voting on currently?
I'm saying it.
What is the actual
5 million
motion that's about to be called?
When is the actual, I'm sorry.
What is the
Five-
motion we're voting on?
what we're proposing hasn't changed.
That the
To invest
treasurer invest in CDs.
in
Correct.
CDs, approximately $5 million of now over $11 million in our reserve accounts, which have earned $500 through December 31st, 2022.
Right. Since last year, we lost over $500,000.
Well,
We haven't lost,
so
Yeah, it's because we didn't invest in it.
lost opportunity.
Michael,
Yes.
does that
That
answer
answers
your
that
question?
answers the question, yes, thank you.
Madam Secretary, would you?
Okay. Just give us a second.
Yes,
Richard? Richard?
Yes, yes,
Americo?
Yeah.
John Malloy?
yes,
David Singer?
yes,
Michael Zaslow?
To call for a vote, yes.
David Boaz?
no.
I'm not a delegate and I can't
That-
vote.
That David is an officer.
Abstain from voting. I'm going to vote no.
Well, this is just the committee.
No, David Boaz is an officer now.
You're an
So
officer.
I'm still on
he
this
can vote.
committee. I'm still on this committee.
Yeah.
Okay,
Either way.
yeah, right. He can vote.
And I'm, as an officer, voting no as well. So the motion carries, you are eligible as the chairperson, sorry.
So
Ed, your vote?
I think after due deliberation, I'll vote yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yes and 2 no. So the motion carries.
Ladies and gentlemen.
have a good holiday.
Well, before you run away, does anybody have anything else to say? I'd like to distribute some of the documents that should be reviewed so that it's not just this issue, but other issues can be resolved and that this committee and the treasurer can become effective as required by our bylaws. So, Richard, you're very good. I'm going to pick on you. Have you reviewed the bilateral agreement?
Is that the one between each condominium and UCO?
Yes.
Not recently, no. I mean,
I would like you to re-review it. And what I think is the salient point at this point is, I think the paragraph that says that it's renewable with certain conditions should be reviewed, and what are those conditions?
Send me an email copy, please. And I will also look
I have no
at,
idea, and I don't want to conject. David Singer,
yes,
you're a studious person. I'd like you to review, because you probably haven't, I'm making that, the bylaws of UCO, centering on
so
the
when you
duties and
email
obligations
me a
of the officers, the duties and the obligation of the treasurer, the duties and the obligation of all members to do their level best to aid Century Village.
would you
So-
email me a copy?
I could get it translated if you want.
Into Yiddish? Oh,
okay.
I thought in Yiddish.
Excuse me?
We could do that too.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Can you,
There
can I get it?
are-
Can you email me a copy so I can read it?
If you haven't got a copy, I'll forward one to you.
Please.
We'll do
Okay,
it.
do I have your permission to leave? I've got to go.
Thank you.
Can I say one quick thing?
Mike?
I just, being the newest person here, the most junior member of the committee, I just want to make sure that my understanding of what procedurally we're supposed to be doing is going forward, and that if the aforementioned vote that was called, is that the proper procedure from this committee to the floor? I've heard before it was supposed to go to the executive committee or the officers committee. What is on paper, the way it's supposed to go?
Well, I think that was answered by Richard. However, maybe he should put it in a memo to you. And his position from the beginning is that there is no
Mechanism.
mechanical function within the bylaws to have to go to the officers committee, to the
Correct.
executive board, and the delegate assembly. I would venture it's not a thick book, and you're very bright, that if you haven't got a copy, you could have one and you go through it. And if you find something that we're making a mistake on, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I just want to make clear, I support a proposal that is well researched in both merit and fact, and that is presented in the proper fashion.
Good. Well, I designate that you do your study, and if there's any questions, we'll come back, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. And there is Richard Handelsman.
The notion that this motion or this issue has to go through the officers and the executive committee before it reaches the delegate assembly is, in my opinion, conflating mistakenly with a bylaw amendment, which does have to go through officers, executive board to the delegate assembly. The power to invest in a CD is not a bylaw. It's already in the bylaws. I'm sorry, it's not a bylaw amendment. It is already in the bylaws. It has already gone through the process. Nevertheless, bring it up for a vote at the delegate assembly.
Gentlemen, I gotta go.
America.
Thank you so much. I've gotta go.
All right, I motion we adjourn.
I second the
second
motion.
Thank you, Joanne, for.
Everybody have a good holiday.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank everybody, including Joanne, for her service here. And anytime she wants free coffee, I'll take it to Friendly's.
Yeah.
Even a soda.
Gee,
All righty.
Thank you all, and be healthy and be well. That's the most important thing. Take care.
Take care.